Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Keon.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast with Benny. Because this week we watched Orphan 55.
Written by Ed Hime.
Directed by Lee Haven Jones.
And aired on January 12th, 2020.
Nice. This episode is so new there isn't even a plot summary on the wiki yet. Which is, I think, a first for us for a TV show. I know when we did the audios and the books, a lot of them didn't have summaries on the wiki.
So nothing to fall back on when we didn't pay attention.
Well, that's why we take notes now. So it's a good thing we took notes this week.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
No, I can see right here that you took notes.
Yeah, no, I did.
I can literally look at them right now.
I did.
Although, like, 3/4 of the way through, my notes got really, really sparse. So just like, okay.
You had one note for the entire, time when they go back to the facility.
I know.
It was 15 minutes.
I know.
Anyway, the facility itself, this episode starts with, the gang in the TARDIS cleaning up after a giant squid.
Yeah, and I think Graham mentions that it was mating season or something. I'm like, oh God, what happened here? Oh God.
But Graham has some tickets to Disneyland. No. This isn't Delta and the Bannerman.
Delta and the Bannerman.
He has some tickets to a space resort.
Yeah, he's got coupons from buying space coffee, and if you get 4 of them, you get a free vacation or something.
How much time has passed since Spyfall? It's been 2 years.
The Doctor's just pissed off for 2 years.
Yeah,
she's in this scene very clearly pissy about something.
Yeah. And Ryan points it out, and she's like, I'm not.
I thought it was Yaz who points it out, and then the Doctor's like, I'm fine. And Ryan's like, well, that's that answered.
It might have been, yeah. Anyway, they immediately get teleported to Tranquility because the coupons are teleport coupons.
Yeah, if you join all of them together, they instantly transport you there with no warning. The Doctor's like, I hope you packed all your stuff, and Graham's like, didn't pack my swimsuit, my Speedos, and Ryan's like, oh God. And then Graham's like, just kidding, I'm wearing them already. And they transport over. This episode is really fast-paced. Really fast-paced.
For once, I didn't think so.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was perfectly paced, just like the other Ed Hime masterpiece, It Takes You Away.
Well, I wouldn't put this on the level of It Takes You Away, No,
neither would I. Especially with that, final 1 minute.
Are you going to ding this episode points because Ryan got kissed?
No, I am going to subtract points because the touching imagery at the end was them sucking their thumbs. Might have hit harder if it wasn't that.
Well.
Anyway, Tranquility is sort of a too good to be true paradise. You got your outdoor pools and you got your indoor, pools.
Just pools everywhere? Look at all my pools.
Anyway, we're introduced to a little subplot here because, they all go off and do their own thing, and Yaz runs across this ancient, aged couple. It looks like they could die of natural causes at any moment.
Yeah, Vilma and Benny.
Benny Hill. Yeah, I thought it was Wilma, but
It's Vilma.
Yeah. Same,
Villa.
Very similar linguistic articulation. Yeah, like Villa. From Blake 7. A Zenith podcast.
What?
Yeah, you haven't heard of Blake 7, a Zenith podcast?
That'd be weird. The Blake 7 is a podcast about our podcast about Blake 7.
No, okay, so what we're introduced to here is that Benny is about to like propose to Vilma or Wilma after like however many years. And Yaz just totally cock blocks this.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. Wow. Wow.
Proof that she's in league with the master.
She couldn't have been like Graham and just gone and sat on a chair and been like not a nuisance to anyone.
Yeah, because Graham's plan is to like, he's like, first I'm going to go sit over there and do nothing. And then after 3 hours of doing that, I'm going to go sit over there and do nothing.
Graham's got it all figured out.
Ryan doesn't really have a plan, I think. He just kind of goes inside. And
The doctor's just like, well, let's see what's going on. You know?
And it turns out what's going on is that Ryan is contracting coronavirus. From
like I have right now.
Wow. Yeah, Dylan came in to the area where we record today, and he was like, yeah, so you know I'm sick. It was just like freaking great.
The common cold and the flu are coronaviruses, you know? The new coronavirus is... So a coronavirus is just like a type of virus. It refers to like the structure of the virus. And this new one it's a novel coronavirus because it's never been seen before. I think now they're calling it Core 19 or something.
It's like COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID-19, that's it. Mainly because if you call it the coronavirus, you could get confused with, like I said, the flu, which is also a coronavirus. I mean, if you're in the medical,
yeah.
If you're in the medical profession,
yeah.
So
I just learned. I mean, up until like a day or two ago, I thought the death like rate was like 100%, but it's actually not. It's only like 2% or something.
Yeah.
So like, what's the big deal? You know, just that's even like no. I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say. I'm going to say, like, it's, a fun game of chance. Just get it on purpose. And no. Even I take that back.
Well, people who die from coronavirus die like a really painful death because I guess we're going into this now. When the coronavirus attacks your lungs or whatever it is, COVID-19, and it attacks your lungs. And when the virus leaves the cells in your lungs, if you're one of the unlucky 2 to 5%, the virus leaves behind markers on the cells in your lungs that make your immune system think your lung cells are the virus. So then basically your own immune system kills you. There you go. That's your fun fact. It's not really a fun fact, actually. It's actually the opposite of a fun fact. So anyway, Ryan contracts...
it's like some sort of cybernetic virus.
Yeah, from a vending machine.
Yeah.
And the doctor is luckily standing literally right there.
And she's like, don't worry, I've seen this before. And all you have to do is some sequence of thing that he has to do to eject the virus from his body.
Including slapping his ear or something.
Yeah, turns out this virus is actually pretty big. It's it almost looks like a
cyber mite.
Yeah, cyber mite.
Well, the cyber mites were the ones from Closing Time. The cyber mats,
the ones from everything else.
Yeah. So the doctor's like, that's kind of weird that there's this virus in this holiday resort. So she goes looking for. We forgot to mention that we've met Hyphen with a 3. And it's not explained till later how that works out.
Was that the...
It's the squirrel lady.
Yeah. My note about her was is that a draconian? Even though she doesn't actually look anything like the draconians.
Well, maybe the furries have taken over. She looks like she could be in a stage performance of Cats, if I'm going to be honest. So, maybe in this timeline, Cats became a global phenomenon in the movie.
People just evolved in conjunction with cats. You know? She looks more like a bear to me, anyway. But, choose.
To each their own.
Yeah. So the doctor goes off to look for clues.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the control room, they're panicking because the virus is attacking their shields.
Yeah.
And then there's an announcement that's everybody please evacuate to the safe zones. This is just a drill, just a regular tranquility drill.
But it's not.
Yeah, but it's not. The doctor sees Hyphen with a 3 going into this linen closet. So she's like, hey, what's in that linen closet? And Hyphen is like, hey, guests aren't allowed in the linen closet. She pulls out a psychic paper and is like, well, I'm not a guest. I'm actually the safety person.
Well, she goes through like 3 or 4 different things, and then the final thing that like gets her to believe it is that she's like a hotel inspector or something. She's like, okay, come on. And it turns out that this closet is like a super secret surveillance room.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like panicking. People are dying. People are getting attacked.
And Ryan actually has met Bella at this point. Bella is, as far as we know, a hotel critic. But they're not panicking at all. They're just kind of sitting there, just being like, yeah, so this is happening.
Yeah, because they're in like the quarantine zone for having gotten the virus.
Yeah. Ryan tries like hitting on Bella
and
like a couple times.
And it works. I guess I need to take tips from Ryan.
Probably because she knows she has nothing to lose.
Wow.
Considering her plan.
Wow. That's not even a backhanded compliment. That's just smacking down Ryan. Well, and it works. I guess that's the point here. And they both reveal to each other they lied because originally Ryan was like, what does he say? Like a mechanic for a pilot or something.
You know, I replayed what he said, like, or maybe it was what Bella said. I can't remember. I replayed what one of them said like 4 times and I couldn't understand it. So I just said whatever and kept watching.
Well, they both revealed to each other that they were lying, basically, is the point here.
Yeah.
So.
But meanwhile, Graham has met a couple of green-haired dudes.
They're Oompa Loompas.
Very vivid green hair. This is Silas P. from... No, not Silas P. from Paradise Towers. Or was it Silas P.?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, he was the like inspector who got inspected himself like a minute into the episode.
Wow.
No, this is... Silas was the dad, right?
I thought Silas was the kid.
Hey, hold on. I
thought Silas was the kid.
Yeah, Silas was the kid. The dad's name, I have no idea what that was.
Nevi?
Yeah, it was probably Nevi.
Yeah, well, anyway, these green people, Silas is like a mechanical genius, and Nevi's just kind of...
a mechanic.
The mechanic who takes all the credit for Silas's work.
Yeah.
Anyway, the doctor gets on the intercom and is like, this isn't a drill. You should all come to the linen closet. Just come to the linen closet. And Graham's like, okay.
Yeah, throughout all of this, we're getting very quick shots of other coronavirus victims. No. We're getting shots of like zombified people. Yeah,
there's a shot where just out of nowhere, smash cuts to someone shooting laser rifles and you're like, what's going on? And then there's another shot where someone's like, it's nothing to worry about. Smash cut to someone literally getting eaten. So the doctor's like, we got to rebuild the ionic membrane, which is apparently the like shield that kept the monsters out of Tranquility before it went down because the virus attacked the shield, basically.
Yeah, so just kind of, this was weird to me how they like really play up that this was like a cybernetic virus that like attacks computers and stuff. Yet they kind of just dropped that after this.
Yeah, it does come back at the end.
Yeah, they kind of meld like, when you say virus, it could either be like computer virus or like viral infection type thing. And they kind of meld those two into one. Maybe kind of playing into the whole like, post-human type stuff that was going on in Spyfall, but also not really.
The evolution of viruses. So the doctor's like, I'm going to rebuild the ionic membrane. And Kane, who is kind of like the leader of Tranquility, is like, you can't build an ionic membrane from scratch. And the doctor's like, yes, I can. Watch me. So she actually does. And And the membrane kind of boots all the monsters out of tranquility, and this is when Kane reveals that they're called dregs.
Yeah, because they're the dregs of humanity that were left behind.
Wow.
Just to make that clear.
Wow. She mentions that they're the native species of the planet they're on, and the planet they're on is Orphan 55.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, you built I don't know what she calls it, but like a staycation or something.
Like a resort or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a special kind of resort that the doctor mentions they normally build in big cities so that people don't have to like leave the city to go on vacation.
Yeah, so kind of like Paradise Towers, or like what that was supposed to be before it turned into like a hell zone.
And then Fifi dies. Helen A. Just remember Helen A.
So they make plans to leave. There are only a few survivors, and they need to leave. The doctor's kind of incredulous at the fact that they created a resort on an orphan planet. She explains that the orphan planets are planets like far in humanity's future that have just been totally drained of
everything.
Everything, and are not suitable for life anymore.
Also, just realized Helen A was Happiness Patrol, not Paradise Towers. My bad.
Oh yeah, those two are fairly similar in concept. I think.
Maybe. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, we were so young and naive back then, and optimistic about the world.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't have a concrete plan as to what we're going to be doing once we catch up. It's probably going to be something along the lines of watching Torchwood. But maybe we'll go back and revisit some old classic episodes.
Really thought you were going to say old favorites. And I was going to be like, if The Massacre is in there, it's not an old favorite. Well, we should just get drunk and watch The Massacre.
We still haven't listened to the Massacre audio, which supposedly fixes a lot of the problems. But, considering the episode itself is basically an audio.
Can only polish a turd so much. It's still a turd. It'll just be a shiny turd.
Wow. So they leave. There's actually a point like in the resort where it's just like an invisible wall that you can just walk into with no indication that that's there.
Well, presumably everybody else knows that the wall is there because they know it's like contained to the resort only or something like that. I don't know. But nobody else really seemed surprised that the wall was there except for like Ryan, Graham, the doctor, and Yaz.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is new to them. And, of course, if you knew what tranquility was, you would know that there's an invisible wall at some point in the facility. But, like, you'd think they'd put more indication as to, like, where that was.
Right.
But they don't.
We get an ominous shot looking through the hole in the wall where we see the bombed out wasteland. So, Gallifrey looking pretty good still.
Okay, so it turns out that Benny didn't make it in time, but they have some life readings from him, and the dregs apparently just kind of took him away.
Yeah,
kind of like
Kane's
it takes you away.
Wow. Kane's like, he's probably dead out there. There's no oxygen out there. And then Vilma's like, he's got an oxygen tank. And then Kane's like, damn it.
So they go out in their little, like, armored vehicle.
Which is a Tranquility, like, branded armored vehicle. It keeps telling all them, like, stay inside the... It's like, do they give tours of the planet? I'm confused.
It's sort of like a, Disneyland-esque, like, keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times.
Except it's not a fun ride. It's an armored vehicle.
Yeah, so just a typical, like, Disneyland experience.
Right.
Death awaits you if you make one wrong move, and it's not even fun.
It's like that creepypasta. Man, that's a throwback to 2005. There was one that's like, it was about how there's a bunch of tunnels underneath Disneyland that were designed for, like, in case Disney got bombed.
Yeah, Orange County in general just has like an underground tunnel system was just created with the idea like, hey, in case we get bombed, I was talking to someone actually like maybe a year or two ago at this point whose dad used to sneak into Disneyland, she said, via the tunnel system. Because apparently you could just go into the tunnels and come at, like, they're just emerge on like the Tom Sawyer Island thing.
Wow.
But they sealed that up like a couple years ago.
I would hope so.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't want to be the random guest who accidentally wanders into the tunnel thinking it's part of the ride and then just is never seen again. Which has to have happened.
Probably.
At least once.
I guess.
They probably got found because I'm pretty sure no one's just vanished from Tom Sawyer Island.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd be surprised.
Well, if you want a good Wikipedia page, and by good I mean absolutely fantastic, the list of incidents at Disney parks page.
Man, I this is a total tangent now, but like I didn't even really pay too much attention to what this was, so I don't exactly know 100% what it is. But like there's this documentary that somebody made, but it's like it's like a fictional documentary about like Disneyland. I'll try and figure out or find what it is again, because it was kind of interesting. Guess not interesting enough for me to like actually read what it was, but just it was like some like I don't know. I don't want to say it was a viral outbreak, but it was some like event kind of like that caused like hysteria at Disneyland or something. I don't know. I'll just see if I can find it and put it in the show notes.
All right, sounds good to me.
So I haven't found that Brazilian show that I've been looking for like a year.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But it's also hilarious.
So if anyone listening to this knows what show I'm talking about, let me know. Just as a reminder, it's a Brazilian show where two kids get roped into making a map of a favela by a gang.
Are you even sure this really happened now?
Man, like, yeah, what if it was just like a weird fever dream I had about like this Brazilian TV show?
Possibly. All right, so they're going off to Benny.
Yeah, because Vilma won't shut up about it. And this is actually deadly to them because Kane mentions how the dregs are very sensitive to sound, and if they make any sound at all, the dregs are going to know they're there and come after them. And two seconds after that, Vilma's just like, Benny, we're here. Total disregard for anyone else's life. Total disregard for her own safety. Thanks, Vilma.
The whole trip out into the wasteland is deadly to all of them. They lose like half of the members of the gang who go out with. Like Hyphen doesn't make it out.
Yeah, but doesn't this all start when Vilma starts yelling at the top of her lungs?
Yes.
Then Hyphen just gets like eaten alive. And then they try unsuccessfully to escape, and they totally fail, and they're like, all right, pile back in.
They pile back in, and then Benny's like, Vilma, are you there? And they're like, Benny survived. And Benny's like, I've got 2 questions. And he just goes, will you marry me, Vilma? He's like, yes, of course.
She's
Duh.
like, no.
No. 0 out of 10, worst proposal ever. It's the Yelp ratings for Tranquility Base. Not Tranquility Base, just Tranquility. Yelp ratings, 0 out of 10, got attacked by dregs. All customer service went down. They might be dead.
But the second question is, will you kill me? Or something like that.
Yeah. Will you shoot me? She's like, what?
She's like, to the yes to that.
She's like, no. Then Kane goes out like Rambo style to take out the dregs. And then when they meet back up with Kane in 10 seconds after Hyphen gets brutally eaten, she's like, yeah, well. And then Vilma's like, did you see Benny? And Kane's like, yep, I shot him. They're like, what? What?
Yeah, I really thought they were going to come back later in the episode with like, nah, just kidding. I didn't shoot Benny. I was just being a hard ass because that's just who I am.
No, she actually just shot Benny.
Yep.
So, rip Benny, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we'd already... Well, never mind. Whatever.
Kane says that the dregs were like having fun with Benny, which is why she shot him to put him out of his misery. But
Right. Somebody at this point, I can't remember whether it was Kane or not, but somebody creates a diversion while the rest of them escape into the tunnels.
well, what happens is what's her name?
Bella?
Bella pulls a gun on Kane, and so earlier in the episode, Bella and Ryan had bonded over the fact that their parents, that they
Were
didn't have
dead.
parents. Yeah, that their mom died.
Orphan's on there for Orphan 55. Well, Ryan's not an orphan, but Bella is on Orphan 55. Actually, Bella's not either. Never mind.
Yeah. And then at this point, Bella reveals that Kane is her mom, who like ditched her and her dad when they were when she was younger, and she basically blames Kane for all the bad stuff that happened in her life.
Yeah, another character whose life was ruined by like having an awful mom. Starting to notice a trend here.
Yeah, I wonder if Chibnall's got something he'd like to tell all of
Something
us.
against moms.
So, the teleporter, because they're trying to get to this maintenance teleporter, which will teleport him back to Tranquility, and the dregs kind of jump in and attack them, and Ryan and Bella teleport back to Tranquility while everyone else is like, guess we got to go on foot.
Yeah, and I think the doctor kind of asks Kane about like the whole situation with Bella, and Kane just like has absolutely no response to any of it. She's just like, whatever.
Kane has no emotions. So they keep going, and then Vilma's like, well, I've got nothing left to live for. I'm going to distract the dregs while you guys go on. And they're like, no, why? They find like a sign on the wall that's in Russian, and the doctor... It's kind of weird that the TARDIS isn't like automatically translated for them, but anyway, I guess because the TARDIS is like thousands of years / miles away.
Maybe.
But they read it, and the doctor's like, this is a base in Siberia.
Yeah. And turns out it's Chernobyl. That's what caused all of this. This is all taking place in like 2016. No, this is far in the future, but it is Earth.
Yeah, it is Earth.
Classic sci-fi twist there. The alien planet that you thought you were on was actually just Earth. How many times has that been in Doctor Who? It was a mysterious planet for sure. Wasn't it?
Twice. Yeah, it was.
I can't think of...
Pretty sure in Mysterious Planet, the Doctor like went into an underground base and was also like, hey, this is Earth. In
Also-
the underground base.
Yeah, wasn't it also Russia? Just like this
I think
one?
so. It's always Russia.
What was the other one that did that?
I don't know, but I feel like it has to have happened at least once more. Question mark.
Yeah,
Hello.
there's probably like a really obvious one that we're overlooking. Guess we'll just skim through the Earth page on the TARDIS wiki and see what alien, quote-unquote, alien planets have actually turned out to be Earth. But whatever. Meanwhile, back at Tranquility, Bella and Ryan are discussing the sort of terrorist scheme that Bella has come up with.
Yeah, Bella's like, I'm gonna blow this sky high, and Ryan's like, you're gonna do what?
Bella, or no, sorry, it was actually Kane reveals that Tranquility was actually a present for Bella or something.
Yeah. She was gonna gift it to Bella when she got older.
Yeah, Kane is sort of that parent who, like, is never there for their kid, but, like, makes up for it by, like, showering them with toys and just stuff.
Makes up for it.
But instead of, like, actual gifts that the kid might, to some extent, enjoy, she decides to create a resort.
Yeah, and give it to Bella with probably all the problems that come with running a resort, like filing taxes and people management and hiring and great gift, Kane.
Maintenance.
Great maintenance. Great gift, Kane.
Yeah, imagine, like, all the maintenance that has to go into, like, running a resort and making sure that it doesn't become, like, not even a sci-fi resort, just imagine a real-world resort and all the maintenance that has to go into, like, making sure it doesn't become just a massive biohazard.
Now imagine that in space. And imagine just being gifted that.
On a resourceless planet that's cut off from everything else.
Great. And the only way on and off the planet is via teleporter.
Yeah, now starting to like sympathize with Bella here and wanting to just destroy this place and wipe it off the face of the earth.
Yeah, well, now she tells Ryan that she built multiple bombs. And Ryan's like, but my friends, my family. And Bella's like, well, sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we skipped the part where the doctor, or maybe not, maybe that's right here, where the doctor like investigates a dreg and
Yeah, that's right now.
yeah, finds out that they exhale oxygen and inhale carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And she actually says the word like tree. So I thought they were going to go for like the dregs or like mutated trees or something.
They're the Ents from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, because Middle Earth is just Earth way in the past, right? And this is Earth way in the future. So
It's the same timeline.
found out that Middle Earth was actually flat. Just to answer the question we had on Triple Play Movie Trilogy podcast, check that out. It was actually flat and like went through the process of becoming round or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Weird as hell.
Yes. Agreed. So, yeah, the dreg grabs the doctor by the throat and lifts her up, but then Kane comes in and shoots it. And the doctor's like, hell yeah. You came back
Forgive
for me.
you, Kane. Everything
Kane's
you've
like,
done.
Kane's like, I didn't come back for you. I just came back to hold the dregs off while you guys escape. And the doctor's like, well, same thing.
I just came back to kill dregs and chew bubblegum.
And I'm all out of dregs.
So there's a passage back to Tranquility, and I think Kane mentions, she says something along the lines of like, these stairs should take us back to Tranquility, but the shot that you're showing along with that makes it look like it's just an unclimbable ventilation shaft.
But then they climb it anyway. They just kind of like smash cut to them at the top of the shaft.
Well, there's another shot of it that is more of, or less, I should say, of a top-down angle. They're like, okay, this is actually a staircase, but it's like a rectangular spiral staircase, as much of an oxymoron as that might be. But it's from top down, so it just looks like a shaft. But whatever. Don't know why I paid so much attention to the way the staircase is portrayed.
And Ryan sees a sticker that says "Made in China," and he's like, "That's weird. How'd that get you?" And then Yaz is just like, "Because this is Earth in the future." And Ryan's like, "What?"
Yaz just pulling no punches.
Yaz is kind of more blunt in this season.
Yeah. Perhaps that has something to do with her newfound like friendship with the Master or something that possibly exists.
That we keep like playing up as if it's a confirmed thing.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think that's partially what we saw in Spyfall, the "Come with me, Yaz" thing, but also like the fact that was a scene that a lot of people focused on online and played up. Which, speaking of online, the online and offline as well, Doctor Who community is probably blowing up right now because the season finale is airing.
Yeah, so
right
we got
now.
to just avoid that. Avoid the spoilers.
Yeah.
Do it, Keon. Avoid the spoilers. It's like that comic that I'll try and find where it's a frog and a turtle, and the turtle's like, I want to change the world. The frog's like, for the better turtle. And then it's just a frame of the turtle like sweating. And then the next frame is the frog going, answer the question, turtle.
Maybe this is Yertle the turtle, a Doctor Who character, the Doctor Who based on Hitler.
You mean Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Seuss, God. Where's my Dr. Seuss? Dr. Seuss and Doctor Who crossover.
If I could delete one pun from ever existing, it would be that one.
You know, I actually reread Green Eggs and Ham recently.
And you're like, damn, this is some good stuff.
It actually is, in terms of like
Plot?
if you read Green Eggs
and Eggs.
Green Eggs and Ham through the lens of like technical and the UI writing, it's actually a masterpiece.
I always thought it was a masterpiece in any way you read it.
Same, but it just reconfirming that it is, because there are many reasons for that. I don't want to get into it, but Yeah.
Check out our Green Eggs and Ham podcast, coming never.
Well, they actually came out with like a new cartoon of it,
Great.
which is in its second season because apparently it was a hit.
How many times can you say, I will not eat them, Sam, I am, before you eat them and you're like, these are delicious, Sam, I am. Well, they fix the thing and then boop, it's over. Those are my next 2 notes. Literally, this is where Keanu's like, you've got 1 note for 15 minutes. And my note is, okay, so the thing blows up and they fix the thing and teleport away.
Well, okay, so let's actually take a few steps back for a second because the doctor, before she got saved by Kane, she actually like dove into the mind of a sleeping Dreg. Because it was a very tense scene because the Dregs like sleep with their eyes open, standing up, and she didn't know when it was going to awaken. But she like unearths some ancient like cultural memories of like death and destruction and like just every natural and man-made disaster hitting at once.
Yep.
And that's what ruined the Earth. That's what ruined the Earth. But so yeah, Silas actually runs away because his dad Nevin, whatever his name was, like disparages his prowess, and he's just like, "Well, you don't understand anything, Dad." And
Screw you,
like,
Dad.
Screw you guys, I'm going home. He just runs off. So they go and look for him, and they split into 2 groups. One is Ryan and Yaz, and the other is the Doctor and Kane, I think.
No, because Kane stays behind. It's the Doctor and Graham, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Was it the Doctor and Bella? I don't remember.
Oh, maybe it was the Doctor and Bella. Because Kane stays behind, and you think she's dead, and then she has that triumphant return at the end.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it was the Doctor and Bella because they decide to trap a Dreg because I don't know why. It was about to kill them, and they devise some complex plan about how, they can force it to come into the room because of the oxygen content or something.
Yeah.
Yaz actually comes up with her own plan to blast a Dreg with it must have been oxygen.
Yeah, she does. With oxygen. Because oxygen is toxic to the dregs. Because they breathe out oxygen and breathe in CO2.
Yeah. But it doesn't work. She actually just ends up wasting a ton of oxygen, and then they just run away. Even more proof that Yaz has a sinister new agenda.
Perhaps.
But they end up saving Silas. He's just sort of like curled up into a ball, like, never should have run away. What have I done?
I take it back.
I'd take this back if I could.
Turns out I can because I came to rescue me. Oh God, it's really hard to do that voice in my current state.
There's a Dreg like about to eat him, but the Doctor and Bella save him.
Right.
Bella like is showing some remorse for her plan, especially when she sees Silas in danger. She's like, I never meant to hurt innocent kids.
Well, you did, Bella. Throwback to Zygon invasion where the Doctor's like, you never think about who's going to die when you fire that first shot, Bonnie.
Maybe she did. Maybe she thought of everyone who was about to die and decided to do it anyway. But they save Silas.
And then Silas helps fix the teleporter. They've got this kind of convoluted thing where they don't have enough fuel, but turns out the fuel, that they do have mutates into the fuel that they need when you expose it to the virus that Ryan had at the beginning. That the Doctor's just been keeping in a brown paper bag the whole episode.
Yeah.
And then there's too many people on the transporter at once. So Bella steps off to hold back the dregs. And then Kane shows up to help her. And then Silas and Revan, or whatever his name, Nevin, whatever, teleport away. And I'm like, okay, so now there's enough space, right? Like Bella and Kane can get on the transporter pad now, right? But we don't see what happens to them because the Doctor and Fam teleport out.
Well, I mean, first things first, Silas and Nevin, I guess is what we're calling him, they reconcile because the dad finally...
Nevi.
Yeah, Nevi. Nevi finally admits that Silas is the real brains behind the operation.
Yeah.
And Silas is like, all right, you're okay again, Dad.
You've been stroking my ego, so you're okay. You good, bruh.
Yeah, that happens. And then, Kane and Bella have, their own heart-to-heart where they fend off the dregs. And there's this scene we forgot to mention at the beginning that I forget what this was, but like Bella and Ryan have like some sort of unspoken sort of thing that they do where they like suck their thumbs.
Yeah, it's because when they were being quarantined for having the virus, they had to like suck their thumbs until the hallucinations went away.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was one of the things you had to do, or that the doctor told them to do.
Yeah.
So this scene would have, I think, hit a lot harder and been a lot more effective if like the imagery wasn't them sucking their thumbs.
Probably.
And then we're back in the TARDIS.
And the Doctor has a 3-minute speech about how global warming is bad. And
It isn't actually 3 minutes. It feels very shoehorned in because it's not 3 minutes. Actually, it's more like 20 seconds.
And she talks about how global warming's bad because she's like, you guys are probably worried about the future. Well, you should be.
Yeah, but she ends on like a positive note. She's like, there's still time, if everyone just rethinks how they,
But then it immediately becomes a downer because she's like, if you don't do that, then smash cut to the drag going, ah!
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people have said that Series 11 and Series 12 also are too on point with their messages that they're trying to get across to you. And this is the first time that I like kind of see that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I kind of see where they're coming from.
Yeah, I can see where they're coming from. This is the first episode where I was like, that is kind of a little on the nose.
Unless the whole thing here is that like the Doctor is wrong and we actually should pollute and no.
Troll 3. Check out Triple Play Movie Trilogy Podcast.
Yeah, maybe the way this is done is that like it's so fast and seemingly shoehorned in because the Doctor is actually wrong and pollution is actually a good thing.
I don't think so.
No, neither do I. And I want to mention this despite the fact that I know very little about it, but I've been reading about this like political and literary theorist guy named Leo Strauss, who was pretty active in the 20th century, middle of the 20th century. And I haven't been reading his works. I've just been reading like about him. So this is heavily filtered through like through I guess just secondhand stuff. But he's sort of a controversial figure. He wrote a lot about propaganda and how it can be used and leveraged to the maximum effect.
Are you saying this episode is propaganda?
No, well, so okay, one thing he says is like, I think, if I'm wrong about this, I'll correct it in the show notes. I'll try and look up a little more. But one thing he says is like, the reason why a lot of old fictional stories were so effective in their themes and messages that they were trying to get across is because a lot of the times those messages were like censored by the general public, or like there were a lot of things you couldn't say in the past that you can say openly now, so you had to do it through fiction. And the reason he says that that's really effective rhetorically, or why fiction is effective rhetorically, that's like the point he's trying to prove, is like why fiction is effective rhetorically, is because when you like embed or kind of hide messages, it makes the reader feel like they figured it out themselves or like stumbled upon that idea themselves, when that's not really the case. And people are a lot more open to ideas that they think they came up with rather than ideas that they think were being forced on them by someone else. So perhaps that has something to do with this, of like, if you sort of hide this a little more, or if you don't have it be so on the nose, perhaps that's,
More
why,
powerful.
yeah, more impactful, or maybe because it's a little on the nose is why people have rejected it. Because I don't think like the people out there or online saying like, the messages of this episode suck, are saying like, yeah, pollution is good and we should go ahead with global warming and I don't think that's where they're coming from. I think where they're coming from is like it's just too like, hit the nail on the head like a little too hard type thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I know I've talked about this on the podcast before, but like the Southern strategy that the Republican Party employed in the late 20th century, where they're like, we can't say like black people are the problem anymore. You have to get obtuse. You have to be like, the poor people, and you have to start talking about like, economic diversity, and you have to start talking about like, the educated and the uneducated. It's like, you got to get abstract, but like we all know, that's the thing. We're all in on it. It's like the South almost got more racist at the end of the 20th century than they had been before that, in some ways, in other ways not. And maybe that's, because it wasn't like on the nose anymore. It was all code words and everything. And they're like, yeah, now you say political correctness. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk briefly about how this episode, I think, actually thematically ties in with Spyfall. Interestingly.
Yeah, it does a lot, actually.
First off, like how Earth is now like a bombed out wasteland, like Gallifrey was always. The Doctor's like clearly in a bad mood at the beginning of this episode because, not necessarily a bad mood, but like she's being very reserved because she went to Gallifrey and like her home planet is destroyed for the second time, allegedly. And she's like very upset about this, understandably. And now in this episode, we see that basically her second home planet gets destroyed by the people inhabiting it, which can't be like a pleasant thing for the Doctor to experience back to back.
No.
There's also just a lot of like Keon, you mentioned earlier, the like post-humanism stuff with the virus like now being able to transmit between the computer and the human, like playing into last week when in Spyfall, what's his name? The guy who ran Vor wanted to turn everybody into storage devices for computers, basically for the aliens, and I'm not remembering their names.
Yeah, the Kasavan.
And
there's also the thing of like in Spyfall. Well, actually, no. In Spyfall, it wasn't like the rich were going to make it out alive because he wanted to transform all humans. But in this one, we neglected to mention that like Earth, aka Orphan 55, was like evacuated by all those who were rich enough to be able to evacuate, and the dregs are just like the remnants of people who couldn't make it out. Mm-hmm. I was going to say it ties back into Spyfall, but no, actually, what's his face just wanted to like kill everyone.
Yeah. He was a little indiscriminate with who he was throwing to the wolves, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know JB last week was talking about how this episode like doesn't really play into the overarching plot of the season, but I think it does, thematically anyway. Maybe it doesn't like directly play into what's the Doctor going to do about this whole timeless child thing, but.
No, I think it walks the line like pretty nicely because it does have those connections, but it also has the thing we talked about last week of like, hey, if you just want to put a random Doctor Who episode on, this is one that you can do that with.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fans call this the worst episode of Doctor Who, and I'm like, disagree with that.
Yeah.
It was like not that bad at all.
What is pretty bad though is something else I wanted to touch on, and that's Yaz's outfit, which is like, we have our like, what the hell are the characters wearing segment on season 2 of Inevitable, a classic sci-fi podcast, but maybe we should bring that back here because just what the hell is Yaz wearing in this episode? Just what even is that?
You got me.
Even more proof of her sinister new agenda.
Yeah, you got me on that one. I have no idea.
I feel like everything related to Yaz from now on, whether it's good, bad, or neutral, is just going to be more proof of her sinister new agenda.
At the end of the season, it'll turn out she had absolutely no sinister agenda, but hey,
yeah, that's like that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, because our theories are like never played out on screen, at least the cool ones. Because the time travelers who listened to our podcast and made Doctor Who only listened to the bad theories we had.
Which, speaking of that, didn't we get an email about that?
Speaking of that, we did get an email this week from Steven. Subject line, future episodes. Hey guys, been bouncing around between different episodes out of order, but one thing you've mentioned on multiple occasions is how Doctor Who may have been made as a result of people in the future listening to your recaps on the podcast and trying to piece things together. So let's assume this is true. Buckle up, boys. What you guys should do is recap the upcoming episodes where the monk, the celestial toymaker, the Valiant, and the Rani come back. Once you recap those in brilliant detail, it will help the people who go back in time and make Doctor Who, and these episodes will be made just as all the others are. Anyway, keep up the good work, Stephen.
Well, now you're a part of this, Stephen. You know, this email has firmly roped you into, you know, that being the case.
Yeah, you've like merged into the timeline, so to speak. You know, so you're part of it now. You're in integral, yeah, part of the theory.
Yeah, thanks for helping build the legend, Stephen.
Yeah, so look forward to those episodes in the future where the Celestial Toymaker comes back. And I guess the Monk and the Rani and the Valiant can, you know...
They can come along for the ride.
They can come along for the ride.
As long as the CT comes back.
The big CT. Well, that's about everything I got for Orphan 55.
Same here.
If anybody else would like to email us, you can reach us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on Orphan 55. You can find us on YouTube at Decorative Vegetable. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify, all at Trust Your Doctor. Be sure to leave a rating if you like the show.
Check us out on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook. Also check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast. And follow us on Twitter. And next time we're going to be watching Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. But until then, the end.